have everyone here talking about the public information campaign that our ADPR campaigns class put on this semester for Grady County, the Archway Partnership, and ultimately Tired Creek Lake. We wanted to start by showing you this quote. It talks about fishing and how it is more of a social experience, and this kind of helped guide us throughout our campaign as we used this in our messaging and to help us understand better what Tired Creek Lake will mean to Grady County.
My name is Amy Dodge, and from the beginning of the campaign, we decided to investigate some of the history behind the Tired Creek Lake project, and it goes back as far as 1935 when the lake was proposed as a Works Progress Administration project. And in 1982, the state returned the ownership of the lake to Grady County, and it's at that point that the county specifically got involved with the project. And the history of the lake continues into recent years, and most importantly, in 2010, the final signatures were approved on the 404 application for the lake. And in 2012, a federal judge struck down the legal challenge against Tired Creek Lake, and the process began. And in the summer of 2012, the dam construction on the lake is set to begin.
I'm Savannah Highsmith, and we were initially drawn into this campaign through the Archway Partnership, which is a public service unit of UGA that basically connects university resources with different counties throughout the state. So in 2011, Grady County became Archway's 9th Archway community. And one of the things that the county wanted help with was addressing the considerable confusion amongst residents about the future construction of Tired Creek Lake. So that's where we came in. And we were tasked with creating a public information campaign to educate Grady County residents and to dispel all of the myths about Tired Creek Lake. We decided to approach this using a traditional PR campaign model, the RPI model, which consists of 4 parts: research, planning, implementation, and evaluation.
So to begin, we created a vision that consisted of one goal, which was educating Grady County residents about Tired Creek Lake, and underneath this goal, we created 5 objectives, each of which we wanted to increase by 5% by April 1st, and those include increasing awareness of the purpose, uses, timeline of the lake, as well as increasing open and honest communication between community leaders and Grady County residents.
In the beginning of the campaign, the Tired Creek Lake Communications team conducted extensive primary research, including qualitative and quantitative research methods with high validity and reliability. And the first step in that process was for us to analyze the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats about the Tired Creek Lake project. And one of the strengths specifically was the overwhelming need for the lake. We, in our research, discovered that Grady County residents are missing out on 47,000 fishing trips a year by traveling to other counties to fish and other lakes. A weakness that we encountered was a lot of negative sentiment surrounding the lake, which is what I discussed earlier, a long erratic history of the lake, and people were generally skeptical of when it was actually going to be carried out. An opportunity that we found was, it's not in this edited one, but yeah, I'll talk about that. And then a threat was general resistance from the residents, also with the lawsuit from Leon County that poses a significant threat for us.
Hello, I'm Nicole McClellan. The pre-campaign research methods included a content analysis, in-depth interviews, focus groups, and surveys.
So the first part that we did was we completed a content analysis to determine what information had already been disseminated about Tired Creek Lake. We conducted an extensive search of UGA databases as well as internet archives of articles. Overall, we collected 72 articles, most of which were content neutral, really just presenting the basic facts of Tired Creek Lake. And we used this information to really inform the other parts of our research, including our focus groups and our survey.
Interviews was the next section. Interview data was collected using the face-to-face method of qualitative research, and the interviews were conducted informally and also on a random selection basis. Specifically, 2 farmers, a representation of the general public, and a county official were the 4 people that we interviewed. The interviews revealed that perceptions within these groups were similar, but perceptions between groups were very different. The interviews also revealed three main themes that people were concerned about: the funding of Tired Creek Lake, the lack of transparency surrounding the project, as well as many misconceptions about the project.
Hi, I'm Alden Gish, and as part of our research method, we conducted impromptu, sort of informal focus groups at some of the popular breakfast spots in Grady County. Those included Three Squares Diner, Hardee's, and the Pickle Patch restaurant on Saturday morning. And as you might know, these restaurants are places where people gather as sort of a social event on Saturday morning to have breakfast. And the focus groups were about 10 to 20 minutes apiece. Most of our participants were mature adults and most were males. We learned a lot of important information from them about some of the misconceptions surrounding Tired Creek Lake, and we were able to dispel a lot of those misconceptions. And because the groups that were our participants in the focus groups, we feel are community leaders in their homes and their churches, we hope that they'll be able to sort of disseminate correct information that we gave them about Tired Creek Lake.
This is Carolyn Dole.
Yeah.
Comes in and speaks here.
She talked about survey creation and also survey implementation in communities.
Alright. I'm Caroline Edwards, and the research team, after getting all of the survey data, we inputted it in the SPSS software. SPSS is a predictive analytical software, and it takes the survey data and it turns it into statistics that we could use that are valid and that we could say with confidence. So this is the pre-campaign data, and as you can see, these numbers are out of 20, and you can see they're kind of neutral on the low spectrum. So that's what we found. The pre-campaign is that the knowledge, the overall knowledge, the knowledge of uses, timeline, and purpose were more just neutral. People didn't really understand what was going on with the Tired Creek Lake project.
I'm Amanda Porter, and after we did this pre-campaign initial research, we really got a grasp of what Grady County residents felt about the project, and we saw so many misconceptions that we realized the best way to dispel these was going to be with solid facts. So our client provided us with hundreds of pages of documents to include a master plan, alternative analyses, a public forum summary, and through these we sifted through and found out some of the most important facts regarding the project. The plan included details about the topography of the lake. Our analyses let us know about the angler supply and demand in the area, as well as the economic benefits. And the public forum summary gave us an idea of a lot of the questions and answers that had already been provided to the residents of Grady County. Another thing that we were able to do was talk to some University of Georgia professors, Dr. Rasmussen, a professor of hydrology, and Dr. Shelton, a professor of fishery. And both of them gave us some incredible insight into more of the details about water quality, as well as the fish that would be stocked in the lake. So from all of this information, we were able to draw the most important information and then began drafting our key messaging for our team to use for communications.
Before we could draft our final message, I'm Rachel McDaniel, and before we could draft our final messaging for the campaign, we had to determine who our target audiences were going to be. So after our research, we determined that we would focus on the Grady County residents and leaders in the community. And the parents and speakers.
Hi, I'm Kristen Cameron, and once research was concluded, we moved forward with the planning process of our project. First, I'm going to talk with you about the planning of our logo. Research originally indicated that we should go with a family-oriented, country-themed logo, which reflects the first two logos at the top. Those were sent to the client, and client feedback asked for a more sophisticated logo. We came up with the bottom two logos, the droplet and the ripple, and the decision was made to go with the ripple logo. Then we moved forward with the branding of our logo, which Kate will talk about next.
My name is Kate Hagan. Going off what Kristen said, a logo is like the old saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Easily remembered and identified with greater ease than 1,000 words describing Tire Creek Lake. However, branding involved more than just designing a great logo. The Tire Creek Lake brand acts as the voice to promote the lake to the community. This brand unleashes what Tire Creek Lake is and the amazing benefits the lake will provide to the community. A brand is key to creating the vital identity and loyalty to the lake. Tire Creek Lake was tasked with developing relationships with community members that would sustain and excite people throughout Tire Creek Lake's construction. In order to do so, every item released to the public bore the logo and a professional look and feel to create one solid identity that identified and invoked a connection with the community. Branding these items like the flyer, plastic cup, and fact sheet were crucial in increasing the recognition within the community and developing a connection to the lake with the community.
So after all of our initial research, it was finally time to draft the key messages that would ultimately guide our campaign. Our first step here was creating a master document that covered the ins and outs of Tire Creek Lake and exactly how we wanted to communicate these details to Grady County residents. So this master document eventually became, in its condensed form, our fact sheet, which was an extremely important tool for us throughout our campaign. We used it both as an internal resource to keep all of us on the same page and as an external publicity tool when we distributed it all throughout Grady County and also handed it out at all of our events. And our hope with this document that it would be a simple way to create a ripple effect of accurate communication about Tire Creek Lake throughout the community.
One of the documents we created was the Q&A document. Oh, thanks, Whitney Wilson. The Q&A document was used internally, and it was a categorized list of questions and answers that we felt we might run into in Cairo and in Grady County, and we used it in order to prepare ourselves in order to answer those questions correctly.
After we created the Tire Creek Lake brand, we were able to implement our publicity plan. I'm Natalie Finley, and the publicity team really wanted to go off the tactic of meeting people where they are because we found that Grady County was such a small knit community, and we wanted to make our information for the fish fry as accessible as possible to all the community members. So we posted on 11 online community calendars everywhere from Cairo to Tallahassee to Thomasville, and we also attended 3 community events in the Grady County area.
Yeah, and in order to further, I'm Martha Watley, and in order to further increase awareness in the community, we went around to local business establishments and put up fact sheets and flyers. Going off what Natalie said, we really wanted to meet people where they go on a day-to-day basis. Tapping into the high school demographic was also a huge priority for us, since they'll be big users of the lake upon completion in 5 years. One afternoon we went to the high school and passed out promotional materials, taught them about the purposes, uses, timelines, and restrictions of the lake, and we had Michael Best, the voice of the syrup makers, give announcements about the fish fry at the high school baseball games.
In total, our event promotions were more than 1.5 million impressions that we made in Grady County.
I'm Amy Johnson, and during our campaign, we hosted 3 specific events to target our audiences. The first 2 were informational meals, which were to reach influential members and business leaders in the community. And our closing event was the fish fry, which was targeted at Grady County residents and taxpayers. The purpose of each event was to help residents better understand the Tire Creek Lake project.
I'm Alexa Miller, and on February 23rd, 4 of our team members traveled to Grady County to host 2 informational meals for the influential community and business leaders of Grady County. Both the breakfast and the lunch were hosted in the boardroom of the Grady County Chamber of Commerce, and as you can see, we had a really great turnout. Between both meals, there were a total of 16 influential community and business leaders in attendance, including several commissioners, religious leaders, and even the mayor. As each guest arrived to the meals, we greeted them, let them get food, and then talked with them as they ate. Afterwards, we gave a brief presentation on the Tire Creek Lake project and then opened up the floor for questions. We were able to answer questions about funding and lakes restrictions.